Hey y'all, it's CherokeeStarfish. Welcome back this weekend to a new stream and to a new game. You voted in my polls and decided on Icewind Dale. So that's what we're going to play. We're getting ready to dig in. I've already got the game booted up, and I hope you enjoy it. So, I do want to say, because you'll see this here up at the top, that I decided to go with the Enhanced Edition rather than the original. And I did that for a couple of reasons. One is because the Enhanced Edition is newer, more people are going to be familiar with it, even though it's still the same as the original game. I mean, there are some additions, obviously, there are some changes, and we'll talk about those as we go, and I feel like that's another reason why I wanted to do this one, is because it'll give me the opportunity to talk about those changes as we proceed through the experience, you know, to kind of highlight some of what Beamdog and the contemporary developers have done versus the original, and so we can talk about the differences in experience and how they've kind of updated it to newer systems and to newer audiences. And that's the final reason, is because I feel like this one is going to be more accessible to a lot of people. The Enhanced Edition is something that people have been talking about. They've come out with an Enhanced Edition of Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate 2, Icewind Dale, Planescape Torment. And so I feel like this is the version that a lot of other people are going to be playing right now, in terms of, not necessarily other YouTubers or other Twitch streamers, but like you guys might be playing this version. And so I want to showcase this so that we can talk about the differences, but also so that we can show, like, to me, this bridges the gap between, like, classic and contemporary. And that's very important to me. It's just like with Age of Empires 2, Age of Empires 1, and Age of Mythology. Hello! This is a game that the audience for it has never really gone away, and so work has continued to be done on it. People have worked to preserve this game, to update it for modern audiences, and to continue to share it with new people in 2019, which is also, of course, what I'm trying to do. So we're going to go with this version, and of course, before we get to Heart of Winter, we're going to start with the classic Icewind Dale. So there is a cinematic with this, and I'm going to let the narrator take over here.
They say that history is the greatest of all teachers, and that tales of past deeds define who we are in the present, and what we shall be in the future. It is said that such tales shall, with each telling, illuminate us all with the light of truth. I shall tell you of such a tale. It is a tale quite familiar to me, for I have spent nearly a lifetime piecing it together and chronicling it here within this book. For years I have pondered its passages, studying every line, committing each word to memory. Perhaps now, in the telling of it, I shall at last find the answers I seek. Our story takes place in the northern region of Faerun, known as Icewind Dale. It is a harsh, frozen land, cut off from the rest of the world by a wall of jagged peaks called the Spine of the World. For centuries, the icy plains of the Dale have been home to the barbarian peoples of the Uthgard and Regedman. Huddled together in small, closely knit tribes, the barbarians lived simple lives, free, proud, and fiercely independent. Until the day an archmage named Erekon came to Icewind Dale. With an army of mercenaries, Erekon sought to conquer the north and force the fierce barbarians into slavery. Long weeks of battle followed, and the scattered barbarian tribes suffered terrible losses. Defeat seemed inevitable. In their darkest hour, a barbarian shaman named Gerard came forth and demanded a council between all the remaining tribes of the north. A respected warrior, Jared persuaded the council to put aside their differences and unite against Erakan. Strengthened by a new sense of purpose, the barbarians rallied behind their new leader. The combined might of the Northmen proved more than a match for Erakan, who had counted on the division of the tribes. Wave after wave of barbarian warriors tore into Erakan's hired army, forcing them on the defensive and ultimately into full retreat. As his army crumbled around him, Erakan had time for one last desperate act before his enemies descended upon him. Drawing upon his remaining power, the Archmage breached the planar boundaries, tearing open a portal to the lower planes. The foolish Archmage's cries of victory immediately turned to shrieks of terror as the hideous and twisted shapes of demonkind materialized from the portal and poured onto the battlefield. The sudden appearance of the demons drove the combatants, barbarian and mercenary alike, to turn to meet the new threat side by side. The remaining warriors bravely charged the portal to drive the hellspawn back and were slaughtered by the hundreds. As his people fell around him, the barbarian shaman, Jared, looked up from the blood-drenched snow of the battlefield and caught sight of a lone figure high upon a ridge in the distance. Jared immediately recognized this vision as an omen from his god Tempus, and in that instant, he knew what had to be done. Shouting cries to his god, he charged through the ranks of the demons and plunged into the portal. As Jared's blood fused with the energies of the portal, an explosion of white light engulfed the battlefield. When the light subsided, the demons were gone, and the portal was closed. In its place hovered a disk of solid stone. Frozen within the center of the disk was Jared's body, locked in his final moment of agony, in his final moment of triumph for all eternity. But that is not the end of our tale. It is but the beginning.
Yeah, which means it's going to be a long story if that's how it starts. Okay, so I've already got my options set. I've messed around with the configuration a little bit. I hope I have things arranged on the screen for y'all so that you can see the chat a little bit better. It won't be hovering over the entire game screen. And a lot of this is just cosmetic stuff or things to make stuff easier, you know, like health bars and so on. The only significant change I have made, because honestly it's just a pain for me, is I'm going to do this right here. I am going to turn on story mode. And story mode, right here, the party gains the benefits of easy difficulty and cannot die in combat. So that just means that, like, people can be knocked out. We can still lose a battle, but no one's going to permanently die and then, you know, lose out on a bunch of experience points while we wait to try and cast Raise Dead and, you know, not having all of the stuff that we need and so on and so forth. Much like with Might and Magic 6, a character death is a huge deal. It's a pain in the butt. And frankly, that's not what we're here for. And unlike Might and Magic 6, you see, you can't just cast Raise Dead like in the middle of combat or, you know, Resurrection or whatever and then just cast Cure Weakness and go on. It's going to be a big ordeal. So we're going to leave that turned on and we're going to go on to character creation. A new game. Here we go. So they have supplied us with some pre-created characters, but we know better than that, don't we? Yeah, we're not doing this. Y'all know what you're here for. We know what we're doing tonight. So, here we go. Let's get started. We've got 6 whole characters to make. in order to get this party started. And that is a lot of chosen ones, you guys. Wow. So we've got a lot of choices to make, and I want to go ahead and get right on in through it. So we will go ahead and, of course, you know, I'm not going to belabor the point here, because this is true of like 99.99 repeating % of video games. Obviously, you know, in an ideal world, we would have more choices than this, but we're going to work with what we've got. So this is going to be our first choice for each character. So let's have a shout out. Shall we start with someone male presenting or someone female presenting? A dude or a dudette? Who will lead this party? Well, they might not necessarily be the leader. They could be the idiot who rushed to join first, I suppose, when they saw the poster up at the tavern. Alright, let's start with a dude. Okay. Now, they do this, and I kind of wish that they did it in a different order. You get to pick your portrait before you pick your race. So, like, see, this is a dwarf. This is a dwarf. This is a dwarf. This is a dwarf. This is a dark elf. It would be easier if you could pick your race, and then maybe, like, you know, it would narrow it down. So we have to think about, like, one step ahead, basically. Do we want a human? Do we want a dark elf? Do we want a half-orc, or what? So basically what I'm going to do to kind of expedite this process is I'm just going to kind of click through these while I am talking, and y'all just, like, give me a shout when I should stop. And we'll pick one of these characters, and then we'll go from there. Whoever y'all like the best, that's who we shall choose. Some of these characters, of course, are ones that I have used many times, and then, you know, others are ones that I've actually never taken on an adventure with my own playthroughs. Like, for example, I don't use halflings a whole lot. I try to create diverse parties, but halflings and gnomes kind of slip through the cracks. And I'm not going to make, like, a size joke there, because that would be super rude. But, I don't know, I don't play a lot of those in, like, actual tabletop Dungeons and Dragons either. I should. Just to kind of get myself out of my comfort zone or what have you. I mean, we can. We can absolutely do a halfling leader if that's what y'all pick. A lot of these are so good, though. I mean, to be fair, some of them are, like, I'm kind of side-eyeing these portraits, but a lot of them are so good, and the art style of Icewind Dale and Icewind Dale 2 has always really captured my attention. I like this this style of art that they use. So, alright, anyone jumping out at you guys? Folks. I'm going to head back in the direction of halflings. Here we go. Open shirt out on the plains guy. Let's see. This one? Okay, we can go with that guy. Let's see. He looks like a human to me, probably. He could maybe be a half-elf. But I'm thinking he looks pretty solidly human, unless somebody else wants to shout out there. Now, of course, this is going to use a weird combination of rules from, like, older Dungeons and Dragons. So, of course, we have this information over here telling us about humans, but what's really important is that humans are the only race that can dual class, and they cannot multi-class. So keep that in mind. And if you don't know what those things are, congratulations, you were born in the era of, like, the new and improved D&D, because as someone who grew up with 2nd edition, 5e is the best one so far. Okay, let's see. Class. I'm feeling like... Which do I choose? Do you mean, like, for the portrait, or for race, or class, or... You'll have to be more specific. I can show you, if you mean like portraits, I can point those out as we choose the next character. Because I do kind of have my favorites. So, this guy, yeah, I think he feels like, I mean, he's got weapons in his hand, he's big and brawny, he's got another weapon on his back, lots of weapons, he's got a war horn. I'm feeling he's probably like a fighter, a ranger, maybe. Of course, this is older D&D, there are no barbarians here, really. That's more like a fighter kit sort of thing. Now, he could be a druid, or a shaman down here. This is something that they added in the Enhanced Edition. See, they're sort of like druids a bit, but they do dances and they conjure spirits. And I don't really know much about them because I have played Icewind Dale several times, but I've never played the Enhanced Edition. So, what do you guys think? I feel like Fighter is the most obvious choice, followed by Ranger, because Rangers also, since this guy's dual-wielding, right here, Rangers start with 2 slots and 2 weapon style. So, like, they're really good at using multiple weapons at the same time. I'm kind of feeling like he might be a Ranger. You think so, or... He does. Okay, so now we get to pick a kit, then. There's the default Ranger, the Archer, which I don't think he is, the Stalker, which gains a bonus to sneaking and stuff. Oh, good that it'll be new for you. They are restricted to light armor, and then the Beastmaster, they get a companion and can summon animals, but they can't use metal weapons at all. So, this guy's got metal weapons in his hands. I'm thinking he's probably just a default Ranger. So, if you are not a Dungeons & Dragons person, then Rangers are kind of like part fighter, part rogue, part druid. So they're sneaky, they're wise in the ways of the wood, they usually have an animal companion, they tend to fight with unusual styles like multiple weapons, or they tend to be archers, that kind of thing. They're great trackers, and they specialize in killing specific types of enemies, that sort of thing. Yes, I was also pleasantly surprised. Might and Magic 7 and Icewind Dale were neck and neck until the very end, and then just today we had a tie-breaking vote that chose Icewind Dale for us. And as much as I would have loved to play Might and Magic 7 as well, and we will definitely play that at a later date, I think this will be a nice new adventure. Let's see. Okay, so Rangers. They've got to be some form of good in this game, so are we thinking lawful good, neutral good, or chaotic good? And once again, if you're not a D&D person, you probably know the memes because these are fairly self-explanatory. Lawful good means that, you think that the system needs to work for people, that there should be rules, but those rules should benefit people and make things better for them, otherwise the rules are no good. So you try to work within the system. If the system is broken, you try to improve it, but there needs to be a system of some kind. Chaotic good, on the other end of the spectrum, means that you do what you think is best for the greater good or the personal good or what have you, and you don't care about the rules or how that plays into any kind of system. You don't care what people think about it, you just do what's right, and it doesn't matter. And then neutral good is kind of what most people default to. That's the average person's alignment, is somewhat between these, where you follow the rules as long as the rules don't get in your way. You don't break the rules unless you have a need to, and you just generally try to do whatever the best choice is for the greatest good at any given moment. So, I'm thinking chaotic, though. Alright, chaotic good. Abilities. This is going to be our classic strength, dex, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Alright, so of course strength determines carrying capacity and like your melee competence. Dexterity determines like your dodge AC, kind of how good you are at moving around and shooting things with ranged attacks. Constitution is how hardy you are, so that's hit points, resistance to poison and disease, that kind of stuff. Intelligence is your book smarts and your ability to reason and use logic. So that's good for wizard magic and puzzle solving. Wisdom is like your common sense and your physical senses, how in tune you are with the environment and the other people around you. Charisma is a combination of kind of like your physical appearance on the low end, and more importantly, how personable and how communicative you are and how you interact with other people. So, these are already pretty good rolls. Icewind Dale has a mechanic where like you do need to roll for your stats as you would in an actual Dungeons and Dragons game. And yes, yeah, we got to boost that Thaco. Oh lord, we'll get to that. So, like, instead of doing point buy, thank goodness you actually get to roll for your stats, which means theoretically you can roll here until you get perfect stats. Now, we're not going to do that. One, because it would take ages. Two, because I think that having some lower stats actually makes a more interesting character and is overall a better choice. So what we can do is we can store a roll and then we can recall it. So like, this is a pretty good roll. We can give a couple of rolls and see if we come up with something that we like better, and if not, then we can come right back to this one. And we can also move some things around. Like I can take 1 point out of charisma and I can put it in constitution to make that a 10, make that an 18. See? Likewise, I could take 1 out of his dexterity and put in his intelligence. Theoretically, you do have to have like a minimum, and it shows you right over here. To be a ranger, you must have at least 13 dex. So we'll roll a couple of times and see if we get something else that we like a little bit better. And you can see right here, it has this helpful window that shows you like how many points you have. See, like there's 2 more because that original roll was 88. So this one's 90. That's a superior roll. Let's see. Rangers don't need a lot of intelligence. They do need some wisdom. Charisma is good, but doesn't have to be super high. Let's see. How about... he's using multiple weapons. Dexterity's good. There we go. I kind of like the look at that. So he's pretty buff. He's quick on his feet. He's really tough. He's smarter than the average bear. He is very sensible, very aware of his surroundings, and he's easy to get along with. What do you guys think? I'm satisfied with that. And, of course, 90 is like, that's a really good roll. So, that's almost maximum. I'm pretty good with that. And this is kind of what we'll do for each character. So, alright, great. So there we go, and you can see it building a character sheet as we go. Alright. Skills. So, these are all of the different weapons and weapon styles that you can use in the game, starting with swords, moving through axes, big weapons, up through polearms, maces, staves, bows and arrows, and so forth. And then down here at the bottom we have two-handed weapon style, sword and shield style, single weapon or dueling style, and then two-weapon style. Now, two-weapon style is, of course, what you need in order to dual wield. Rangers get 2 ranks in that for free, and they are the best at it. So you'll see over here, if you have 1 slot, then you have -2 to hit with your main hand weapon and -6 to hit with your offhand weapon, which is still a big penalty. We start with 2, which means no penalty for the main weapon, -4 for the offhand weapon, and if you master this and have 3 slots in it, then you only have -2 to hit with the offhand weapon, which means that that is a great investment at the beginning if we're going to dual wield at all. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a point in that. I think we're all agreed that he's going to be a dual wielder. That looks like it to me. And you know what? He's got an axe in one hand and a sword in the other. Folks, you think that we ought to just go with that? How about we just put some ranks in axe and sword, and then we'll have him act out his portrait, basically. So that way, if we find any good swords, any good axes, they'll go to him, and he can just dual wield the crap out of that. Alright. Um, Dominant hand, I think defaults to the right hand, but that is also shown on the character screen, so we'll see that once we actually get into the game and look in their inventories. And we've got 3 points left to spend. I'm going to put 1 in axe, and I'm going to put 2 in longsword, because he's got a long sword, not a short sword, but also in his portrait, he has 1 axe, a sword in the other hand, and then a sword across his back, so he literally has 1 axe and 2 swords. Alright, now, Racial Enemy. This is a special ability of Rangers. Like I said, they're very good at fighting a specific type of enemy. So who should it be? Who does this guy hate? We've got Cadaverous Undead, which is like zombies. Giants, self-explanatory. Goblins. Lizardmen. Orcs. Salamanders, which are a specific type of like fire elemental adjacent creature. Skeletal Undead. Spectral Undead, which is like ghosts and wraiths. Spiders, that's very specific. Instead of just bugs or vermin, it's specifically spiders. Trolls. Umber Hulks, which are kind of like trolls or ogres, but they're like a sort of a bug creature from the Underdark. And then Yuan-Ti, which are these evil snake people. So, what are we feeling here? I don't feel like there's any indication in his portrait like which of these he would like the least or hate the most, however you want to phrase it. So let's give this guy a story, right? Who does he hate? Who's he really good at tracking and killing? Any of these jumping out at you? For some reason, because it just says spotters, I keep looking at that. That's not a suggestion. It just really says, like, it's just spiders. Yeah, goblins and orcs are the classic choices, and of course, undead are always very frustrating, that's true. And there are going to be a lot of both of those categories in this game. Now, I will say the most frustrating class of undead are definitely spectral undead, because they have all kinds of, like, defenses and special abilities where they can drain your levels and things like that. However, the most populous kind of undead is probably going to be skeletal? So, like, this one will come in handy more often if we were to go with undead, and this one's second most often. This one would be the rarest form of encounter, but then when you do encounter them, having this as a bonus would be really great, because you can see over here, this is what it does. +4 to hit, and +4 to damage, versus whatever this is. Goblins and orcs, we're going to fight a lot of those too. And orcs and goblins are going to be something that shows up right out of the gates. Oh, we don't have to worry about min-maxing here. This will just be part of this fella's backstory, because all of these obviously are going to appear in the game at some point, because otherwise they wouldn't give us the choice. So let's see, we've got goblins, orcs, and undead. So let's pick between those 3. Goblins or orcs? Alright, kind of leaning that way. So what do y'all think? Goblins or orcs? Both of those are going to be dangerous. Goblins tend to show up in bigger groups. Orcs tend to be more dangerous individually. Goblins? Alright, he's a goblin hater. Screw those goblins. Alright, his appearance now. Let's see, this is where we get to pick his hair, skin, and major and minor clothing color, which is really nice. And we can see here he's got some long dark hair. He is wearing mostly browns. He's got like black leather or dark leather pants. And he's got some pretty dark skin. Now, we cannot change their sprite. This is actually determined by your class as well as your race. So, like, all human warriors, or warrior types, including rangers, paladins, fighters, they all will have this same sprite. So we can't change, for example, his hair style, but we can change his hair color, which, let's see, I think... No, I think that's probably... Whoops. Pretty accurate. No, it's a little darker than that. Let's try... Let's do that one. Skin. Let's see. It's more of a brown. That looks pretty good. He is definitely wearing some browns. That's too orangey. Let's see. Man, they put these really close together. There we go. Maybe a little browner than that. Oh, wait. There we go. And where's that? There we go, that black leather. Okay, we can always change that later as well. Okay, let's see. Now we need to pick a voice. So I'm going to be quiet for a moment. I'm going to click on each of these and let you all hear them. And you tell me which one you prefer. We'll start at the top here and just go along.
Here I come, and the hells come with me. I may not make everyone happy, but I'll keep us alive. I think we've squeezed as much out of this day as we can.
Gods grant me strength. I would be honored. Oh, the demons of sleep hound me. I need rest.
You'll soon sleep with the dead. I'll be the leader for now. I'm tired of trotting around like a damn mule. Let's find an inn and some warm beds.
I hope you guys can hear that all right.
Steel yourselves. It is an honor. I should rest. I cannot walk and fight indefinitely.
I'll wash me beard in your blood. I'll be doing the leading now.
I love this one. It's just grunts.
Huh?
Attack! Yes, I shall lead us to victory. We must halt and regain our strength.
Well, looks like I'm gonna have to go on a killing spree. I suppose it was only a matter of time before this happened.
To the pain. The learned should lead. My mind grows tired. I must rest.
Ha ha! Good, I couldn't see anything back there anyway. My feet ache. Can we rest now? Watch your back. Why, yes, I can handle this. I grow weary.
It is a shame that we must resort to violence. I shall steer us true.
Come then. I will do my best. I grow weary.
The silent blade cuts best. Ah, I should get some good scouting done up here.
I'll take care of it. That's fine with me. Getting pretty tired.
So there we go. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards like this one.
Here I come, and the hells come with me.
Yeah, okay, you guys agree.
Not make everyone happy.
There we go. Okay, well, so now we need a name for this fella. My goodness. I feel like, given the backstory that we started with, he seems like maybe a native of Icewind Dale. Might be an Uthgardt barbarian or something like that. And they all have names like Wolfgar or Ethelred, like Viking-type names. Let's see. They don't give you suggestions in this one like they do in Might and Magic 6. You have to come up with something on your own. Appropriate, since it's Dungeons and Dragons. Well, let's see. He's a ranger. He's outdoorsy. He's going to be out in the wilderness a lot. How about something that kind of reflects that? Short and sweet. How about Leaf? Good. Elp. Ah, we have a D&D player in our midst. Then let's see. Maybe we can combine them. How about... out. That's maybe not the best conjunction of those two names. I don't know if we're feeling quite that silly. There you go. How about that? That sounds... We'll combine those two names, and that sounds appropriately, like, Nordic to me. Hatheland. Hatheland. Someone's gonna call him Hat Hand, though. Let's see. There we go. Kind of like Ethelred. How's that look? Hatheland, the Viking. All right. And here we go. Oh man, look at this. We got this here. This default ranger backstory. No, this is the fun part. So why is Hatheland here? We don't have to have a lot of knowledge of the specific setting lore necessarily, or like the locations within Icewind Dale, in order to understand something about Hatheland. Because what do we know? He's a dual wielder. He hates goblins. He is probably, like, native to Icewind Dale. So, that is what we know. And then, of course, we know that he's, like, strong. He's fairly smart. He's, you know, very aware. So, let's work with that. Let's see. Okay. First of all... You stop that. That's no one will watch these videos if that's the main character. That trope has been worn out long ago. Besides, I think there's actually a timeline for these games, and I believe that this happens before Drizzt arrives in Icewind Dale. I can't remember the exact timeline, but I think Icewind Dale 1 and 2 both happen after Drizzt. That sounds right. Or Icewind Dale 1 does, and maybe Icewind Dale 2 happens like around the same time or later. A homesteader. Okay, so let's see. Let's see, that makes sense. Let's see. Let's say the goblins. Indeed. So this homestead was destroyed by the goblins. Now, how tragic are we going here? I only want to do like maybe a paragraph or two for each of these people, because otherwise this will be the whole video. So, like, did they kill his family? Did they just run off his cows? Or did they just really upset him? And like now he's out for revenge. Okay, well let's see. Let's avoid the obvious tragedy. Let's say, Hmm. Let's see, let's see. Uh-huh. Okay. Alright, so this is his parents' farm, and he spent his lifetime improving it. Okay. Upon which he had spent. So let's see. Here we go. This is where he becomes a hero. So furious, Hatheland unhitched his untrained cart horse. In pursuit of goblin band. He has a ranger, so let's see. Tracking them for several days and nights. He eventually came upon their camp, where they were greedily feasting. Let's see. Upon one of his very own, probably goats. If he was to, rebuild his family homestead, find other work. There we go. How does that read? I think that's a pretty good backstory for our first character. Alright. There we go. Our first character. Okay, so now we need to create someone else. And like I said, I like to do a diverse party. I like to mix races and alignments and genders and things, so listen. Don't you call me out like that. I came here to have a good time. I'm feeling very attacked. All right, so the first person was a dude. Let's do a non-dude. Okay, so we have a ranger. He's going to be kind of a frontline melee fighter. He's going to be a tough guy dishing out a lot of damage. Maybe we need someone to back him up. Who's that going to be? Are we thinking someone to hold the line next to him? Are we thinking someone to support him with like healing magic, or are we thinking like a sneak, a stealthy character, who can scout for him, or are we thinking of someone who stands behind him and blasts over his shoulder? So yeah, let's do. Shall we do a fellow warrior, a support character, a mage, or a stealthy chick to be Hatheland's friend and partner. Badass lady fighter. I think we can do that. She looks pretty good. Let's see. I like her. I use this one a lot. This is a really good like half-elven fighter, although of course her chest armor is completely impractical. Just tank of some kind. She's obviously a wizard. Also a wizard. Also a wizard. I like that one. That's not a bad, like maybe a female dwarf or halfling. Yeah, no, boob armor is bad. Looks like a rogue. I love this picture. I use this one a lot. It's not bad for a cleric. She's pretty good. She's got a shield. She could be a fighter. Some kind of druid, maybe. This one's obviously a druid. I like her. That one's not bad. She's got a shield and a spear. Ooh, this is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorites. I like this one a lot. Witch Shield Woman, because... Okay, so here's Shieldmaiden 1. There's a lot of diversity here, which I really appreciate. Here is a Dwarven Shieldmaiden. This one is good. A dwarf or maybe a gnome. And then this one. And her, of course, too. Okay, so this one? Yeah, I like her. Alright, we'll go with her then. Race. I'm pretty sure she's also human. She could be a half-elf and maybe her ears are hidden. But she could even be a full elf, theoretically. But I think she's probably human, too. What do you guys think? Human, maybe half-elf? I feel like she's probably human. Yeah, you can't tell with her hair that long. Which is nice, because then that gives you options. So, okay. I'm thinking another human, then, maybe. Alright, class. She's probably some kind of fighter, I think. Don't y'all? He's a ranger. We don't want two of those. She could be a paladin, but she strikes me as just an out-and-out, like, she's a brawler. She looks like she could kick some butt. She looks like someone who has a lot of ranks in that, maybe that sword and shield fighting style. Okay, so let's see. Ooh, here are options here. So, Barbarian, I told you about that. That's a fighter kit. Kenzai, I don't think she's that, because you have to wear no armor. A Wizard Slayer. This is someone who, like, is really good at killing spellcasters. Now, the downside is, you can only use magic weapons and armor. You cannot use any other magic items, which is a huge hit in this game. So you get a big benefit, because you're great at killing wizards, but you can't use magic rings, you can't wear magic amulets, you can't use, like, magic hats or necklaces or capes, which sucks. It fits the overall backstory of the game, you know, like what was his name, Ericon? I don't think she's a berserker. She could be. And then of course the vanilla fighter, which just means that you are just really tough and really good at fight. You are A+ at fight. So it seems between probably fighter and wizard slayer. So what do you think? Is she anti-magic all the way, or is she just like a really good fighter? I'll admit, I kind of lean towards fighter just because, like, the idea that she can't wear a magic ring or something is so bad. Fighter? Alright, well, I'll accept that. I'll take that. Because this is probably, like, it would be really interesting to play, but it mechanically, my god, what a hit. Okay, alignment. Once again, we've got lawful, chaotic, and neutral, of course, but she can be evil or neutral as well as good. If she's hanging out with Hatheland, though, I feel like she's at least neutral or good. He probably wouldn't spend a lot of time around an evil character, right? I don't think so. He seems pretty staunchly anti-evil. So, he's chaotic good. Maybe she's, she could also be chaotic good. Maybe she's neutral good. Like, she knows how to fight in formation and take orders. She's all about teamwork. But also, she looks like someone who could get in a tavern brawl. Yeah, I'm thinking neutral good. Alright. We're on the same page. Okay, her abilities. We can do better than that. Yeah, we already did better than that. And again, this is, like, basically because you can take points out of something and put them in something else, the fastest way is to watch this number and just hit re-roll until you get whatever, like, a high number that you like. Like, we got 82, right? Hatheland had 90. Let's see if we can get a little higher than 82. There's an 83. There's an 84. But again, you know, I feel like having some flaws rather than perfect stats in every slot is more interesting, both from a narrative perspective, and also, like, people really are about min-maxing in Dungeons & Dragons, but I think that's probably good. The thing is, even in the video game version, let's say you find a ring of +1 intelligence or a necklace of +2 charisma or something. If your stats are completely maxed out all the time, those, you get a lot less mileage from those. They're not treasure, because the character can't really use them. So honestly, not only is it more interesting to have a character who isn't perfect and can't do everything, you know, all by themselves, but also it's mechanically, I think, more advantageous in terms of now your loot is going to feel more rewarding. Okay, so let's see. We know she's pretty strong, right? So let's see. We'll do this. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll subtract everything down to 10 and then build up from there. So, now it's easier to do with some classes because, see, like a fighter doesn't have any stat requirements that are above 10, the way that, like, with a ranger you have to have 13 dexterity and so on. So you can do this, and then we'll just build her back up into who we want her to be. Now, we know she's pretty tough, right? Hatheland had 16 strength, and she's using a big heavy shield. I feel like she's at least as strong as he is. Yeah, I feel like she's pretty tough, too. Now, he had 16. She's probably got at least 16. Now, she might not be as quick as him, but she looks like she could move. I think she looks pretty light on her feet. Maybe a 14 in dexterity instead of a 16. The mental stats, of course, are a little harder to gauge. I'd say she's a redhead. She's got at least maybe 12 charisma, at least. Yeah, see. And let's see. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she doesn't have the super boob armor problem going, so she's got to have at least 12 int. Wisdom. I don't know. She might get into a lot of tavern brawls. I get that feeling from her. She looks like she kicks in some doors, so maybe her wisdom's not as high as his. She relies on him too. That creates a teamwork element, right? Yeah, exactly. She's kind of brash, right? She's not as level-headed as Hatheland, even though he's chaotic and she's neutral. She relies on him to keep an eye out. So let's see. How about we'll put a couple more points in charisma, and then I'm thinking, yeah, exactly. He grounds her. How about let's bump up her constitution a little bit more, and then maybe put one more in her strength. That'll increase her carrying capacity, because it looks like she wears heavier armor than he does. Or in fact, actually, there we go. Ooh, that's good. Okay, so in old Dungeons & Dragons, your strength, if you were, unless you were like a giant or a magical creature of some kind, your strength did not go straight from 18 to 19. It went from 18 to 18 and a percentile, and there was actually a chart that determined your damage bonus and your carrying capacity based on that. The highest is 18/100, which is right below 19 strength. So 1890 is really good. That's almost the maximum strength that a normal human being can have. That's like as strong as she can be. I like that. Okay, good. We're done with that. Now her skills. Okay, so we know... yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's trusted her shield and armor to keep her safe. So we know she's got sword and shield style down here. Specialized, 2 slots. -4 bonus to AC against missile weapons. That's good. So we'll go ahead and max that out. She obviously uses sword and shield. And then, let's see... I was looking to see... Okay, well, we'll go with longsword. There we go. And this ranks way up. It will continue as we go through the game, like we'll get more points to put in that. You don't have to put ranks in shield, thankfully. Okay, her appearance. Well, we know she's a redhead. Let's find that. That's like pink, not really red. That's too orange. I think it's probably going to be that one. Her skin is probably fine. Now she's wearing some dark armor. I think that actually looks pretty good. I think that looks right. And again, we can always adjust that. Alright, let's check out these female voices.
You would do well to fear a woman's wrath. Queen for a day, is it? Whatever we have to do, it'll keep till morning. Are we going to stand here for the whole year?
I already kind of like that voice.
You would do well to fear a woman's wrath.
Okay, it's the same one.
Your time draws near. I will do my best to keep us out of harm's way.
Let's spill some blood. Watch my back. We should rest soon. I can think of much better ways to pass the time.
Yeah, I'm thinking
You would do well to fear a woman's wrath.
that kind of already is sticking for me. How about it for you folks?
Queen for a day, is it? Whatever we have to do. Are we going to stand here for the whole year? Can't last much longer. I'm here. Give the word. What do you want? Consider it done.
Alright. Cool. Let's see. And yeah. I think that is good for her armor, so she needs a name. Let's see. No, maybe not. Yeah, I could see something like that. She's got kind of a punchy name, because she's a punchy girl, right? So... an Astrid. I think that fits. If nobody else has a preference, that seems good to me. Alright. What is Astrid's backstory? It's not that, whatever that is. Okay, so, we know she's kind of brash. Let's see. We know she's tough. That adds up to, like, rough and tumble. She fights defensively, but also aggressively, you know, kind of balanced style. But she's not stupid. She's just kind of hot-headed. How about... Let's see. Listen, boiling oil has no alignment. Yes, no, there's no boiling oil here. That is not a weapon you can equip in Icewind Dale. It's fine, don't worry about it. Alright. There we go. So, Astrid kicks quite a lot of butt. She did not come to play. Well, she did, but she's the only one that's going to have any fun. Alright, let's have another dude. Alright, now let's see. We've got two good solid frontline fighters. Now we need somebody to support them. We need an archer or a spellcaster or a healer of some kind. So what do you guys think? A ranged combatant, a healer, or a wizard of some sort? Some sort of blaster. There's still a lot of range in all of those choices, too. Let's see if any of these portraits jump out. We don't have a spellcaster yet. Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. Some sort of healer. Huh. That guy looks like he could be a healer. Maybe. That guy kind of looks like he's praying a little bit. Ah, the halfling cleric. I mean, yeah, I don't use halflings a lot. I kind of stopped and paused on, where is he? This guy. What do you think? We'll have a halfling cleric. Well, I'll do something that I haven't done. And he'll be another good, solid frontliner. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I like the sound of that, and the longer I look at this character portrait, the more I like the idea. Alright, so, halfling then. So yeah, here are the bonuses that halflings get. They are sneaky, they're good at ranged attacks, they're lucky on their saving throws, they're quick, but they're a little brash, and they're not as strong as humans, of course. Yeah, talk about your pocket healer. Now, halflings can only be so many things. So we've got fighter, cleric, thief, or multi-class fighter-thief. This is not your standard contemporary Dungeons & Dragons. Thankfully, cleric is on here, so we'll go ahead and pick that. Now, is he just a generic cleric? Or is he a priest of someone specific? We could pick one of these other gods. Talos is the god of destruction. Helm is the god of protection. Lathander is the god of the sun and rebirth. Tyr is the god of justice. And Tempest is the god of, like, combat. War, I suppose you could say, but battle of any kind, really. Halflings do have their own gods, like Yondalla, which are not listed here. So we could just leave him as a generic cleric, I think. Yeah, because some of these, like, you get special abilities, but you also gain disadvantages, or have limitations if you pick something else. So, I think, let's just say he's a cleric of the halfling gods. Alignment. Let's see. Once again, he's probably good. Halflings tend to be, and most of their deities are as well. And after all, he's already hanging out with two other good aligned, characters, so he's probably good or neutral. Halflings, I think, tend towards either chaotic or neutral. Mostly neutral, because they do have a civilization, but they also really value, like, their freedom and their individuality. So I'm thinking maybe a neutral good? What do you think? Because, of course, there are some arguments to be made, like, they do have deities that are lawful. Gods of hearth and home and that kind of thing. I'm kind of feeling neutral good. Alright, we'll do that. Abilities, let's see. We can do better than 77. There's an 81. There's an 86. Oops. 85. Sometimes you get muscle memory. You click this button a bunch of times and you accidentally skip past. That's my fear. Like, I accidentally skipped over the 86 and then was lucky to immediately get an 85 also, but at the same time it's like, 84. Okay. Oh, there we go. I was about to say I think 86 is the best we're going to do. Okay. Clerics need to have high wisdom and charisma, and those are their most important stats. Absolutely. So, yeah, anything 80 plus is going to be okay, because then they're going to have, like, really good stats across the board, as we've seen with our first two characters. So this is the equivalent of rolling very, very well. Okay, let's see. Oops. 18 intelligence. I don't think he needs quite that much, but... Alright. Once again, he needs high wisdom and charisma, especially wisdom, because that is what he needs more of than anything else. Let's put a 17 in that. He can't have an 18 at, like, right out the gate because halflings have -1. He's probably pretty likable, don't you think? Thinking like that. He is going to be like a shield guy. He probably needs a decent constitution and a decent strength. But he is small as well, so he should have something in dexterity. Yeah, all halflings are lovable. Intelligence is going to be his least important stat, but also, I mean, he's a cleric. He's probably got a little bit more on the ball than the average Joe, just because you have to read all those scriptures and things like that. How about... How does that look? There we go. So he's not as strong or as tough as Astrid or Hatheland, but he's pretty hardy. More importantly, though, he's got more on the ball than either of them, so I think that looks pretty good to me. If it looks good to y'all, that's what we'll go with, and we will move right on along if there are no objections. So, skills. Okay. Well, he appears to be, to me, I feel like it almost looks like a mining pick or something, but I think it's a mace. We'll probably call it a mace. And let's see, we should probably put a rank in sword and shield style as well, because he's going to be using a shield. So, alright, so... There we go. Now, his first level spells. Now, of course, priests don't have a spell book. They just get to pick their spells based on the cleric list. So, this is not super important as we can always change it. But this way you get kind of a preview of what he's going to be able to cast. A lot of these things do pretty much what you think they do. Armor of Faith is a defensive bonus. Bless, adds to your allies' dice rolls. Command orders an enemy to do something. Cure Light Wounds is healing. Curse is the opposite of Bless. Detect Evil. Doom gives penalties. It's a debuff. Magical Stone is a ranged attack. Protection from Evil is an alignment-based buff. Remove Fear, of course. And then Sanctuary prevents enemies from attacking you unless they make a saving throw or unless you do something to break the spell, such as hit them. So, we're going to have a Cure Light Wounds, I think. And, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, actually, is maybe like... this is an AoE buff, and then like 2 healing spells, because let's be honest, that's what he's here for. And of course, again, we can always change that based on necessity. So, let's see, he's got a little bit of orange, kind of some dark leather, and then that silver. So let's see, what's his hair look like? He's got dark hair. I think that looks like his hair. His skin's a little darker than that, I believe. There, that looks a little bit better. Major, I don't know why they made it blue. Let's see if we can find a metallic silver down here, maybe? That's black. They used to be separated into the, there's like leathery colors or different textures. There we go, that's a good silver. And kind of a dark leather accent, sort of an orangey leather. There we go, I think that looks good. Okay, back to the voices. Okay, we know it's not that guy. Let's see.
I'll wash me beard in your blood.
Well, he doesn't have a beard. No.
Attack!
Maybe not.
Well, looks like I'm gonna have to go on a killing spree.
Funny, but I don't think that sounds like him.
To the pain, the learned, my mind grows tired.
Nah.
Ha-ha! Good, I couldn't see anything back there anyway. My feet ache. I've seen enough. It's getting dark. Get ready.
That sounds like a halfling voice, maybe, or a gnome, but I don't know if it's our halfling.
Watch your back. Why, yes. I grow weary.
It
is a shame that we must resort to violence.
Come then.
The silent blade cuts best.
I'll take care of it. That's fine with me.
How do y'all feel about that?
Getting pretty tired. Oh. Need some help. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Huh? Sure. Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, I'm liking that one. Okay. Alright, he needs a name. What are we going to call this fella? Alright, our halfling cleric. He's neutral good. Sam. I like Sam. Now, is that short for Sam Wise? That's alright. Every good adventuring party leader needs their Sam. I dig that. It fits. It sticks. Okay. What's Sam's backstory? Let's see. What do we know about Sam? He's fairly upbeat. He's likable. But he's also a holy man. But he is a halfling holy man. So that means that he's going around barefoot through the snow. He's always concerned about when his next mealtime is going to be. But he's really fiercely loyal to his friends. A city boy? You think he came up here from to Icewind Dale from a bigger, more urban place? Perhaps in search of adventure or search of people to minister to, or maybe he came because he knows that people up here have it rough and he's trying to make things a little better. Maybe since he's a halfling, they're all about home and hearth. Let's see. That sounds good to me. How about, we'll say Waterdeep. That's a city everybody knows. That seems appropriate. Yeah, I like that. Like he's okay with getting some of the thanks when he heals people. Let's see. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that you're enjoying it enough to stick around. This is fun for me, too. I get to play Dungeons and Dragons, like, at the table and on Twitch. Let's see. Having arrived at his destination. Hey, I never say no to fan art. Let's see. There we are. That seems like a Sam sort of backstory. Alright, well that is 3. Okay, back over to this side. So we know this is going to be another female character. Still don't have an arcane spellcaster yet. Maybe we need a wizard or a sorcerer. Of course, we also need some kind of a rogue, too. I did say I liked that one earlier. She's kind of wizardy. That one's not bad, and we don't have an elf. What do y'all think about maybe an elven wizard? Yeah. We know it's got to be a girl because we're going back and forth between male and female. So, yeah, okay, let's stick with this one. Yeah, the elven wizard is the classic. And we don't have an elf, so here we go. Alright. Now this is where, see, elves can be all of these different things. They are the ones who are best at multi-classing, which, unlike in contemporary D&D, where that just means taking different levels in various classes as you level up, here, it's a choice you make at the beginning, and you can't change it, and your experience points are divided between all of these classes, so you level up more slowly, but you have all of the abilities. It's kind of like being Gestalt, except you level up at half or 1/3 the rate. So, I think she looks like just a full-on mage to me, though. I don't think she looks like a mage thief or even a fighter mage. She seems to me like just a full-blown wizard. Okay. Now, is she just a regular wizard, or we've also got diviner, which means she cannot cast conjuration spells, but she specializes in divination, of course. Enchanter is similar, bonuses on enchantment magic, but no invocation. Those are blasting spells. I think we need that. Yeah, rogue priests or rogue clerics, they're fairly rare. I feel like you need to be like a priest of a god of tricksters. Wild magic. This is that's dangerous. But more importantly, I don't think she's an elf. She doesn't really look like a wild mage. So, she could be a diviner. She just doesn't get any conjuration spells if we do that. Keep that in mind. And conjuration, that's some magic that makes things. So, that includes like teleportation magic and so forth. But then, of course, we also get a bonus spell per level, so we get an extra spell slot, which is very important. And other people have a harder time saving against her divination spells. She has higher saves against divination, so on. So, that's true, but does that mean that you want to keep everyone kind of generic, or that this should just be the first one because we haven't done it, so maybe it's time? I could go either way. I'm okay with a diviner, but I'm also okay with just a regular mage. She does look very serene, but she's an elf. She's going to do that even if she's a wild mage. She's going to look kind of, like, generally wise. Alright, well, that is tempting. I hate to give up conjuration magic, so if y'all want to, I will. Otherwise, I think I'm just going to go generic for probably for all of them, unless y'all decide to pick a specialization yourselves. So, unless you have an objection, someone speaks up, we're just going to go regular mage with her. Okay, now she is an elf. They tend to be chaotic good, but we can go with whatever. She also, you know, elves are good. Most of these other characters are good. We could have an all-good party, but she also looks like she could maybe be neutral. I don't know. I'm feeling kind of maybe... No time for your shit. Well, that sounds like lawful good, actually. She could be lawful neutral. Yeah, maybe she's out here searching for something that has nothing to do with good or evil. So, if she follows her own rules, that might be true neutral. Maybe that's what it is. She's out here on some kind of quest that doesn't really have anything to do with the others. So, yeah, and that's interesting. And a lot of folks, they give true neutral a lot of crap. But honestly, if played correctly, it's one of the most interesting alignments. Let's try that. We need a neutral character, I think, and she looks good for it. Abilities. Okay, let's see if we can do... There's an 82. If we don't get higher than that, I'm okay with it. Oh, crap. I clicked past an 88, y'all. It's that muscle memory thing. I knew it. 85. Alright, well, I think that 85 is, I think 85 is good. I say as I continue to click, you know. Habit, years and years of habit. Okay, yeah, we'll go with 85. So, let's see. Well, we know that she's got to have 18 intelligence because she is a wizard. And she just looks like she's got 18 intelligence as well. Now, it's very important for wizards to have a high dexterity if possible too, because they are most effective when using ranged physical attacks. And also, there's very little armor that they can wear. So, since she's an elf, she's going to have high dex anyway. And we can take advantage of the fact that she actually gets +1, so she can have 19. Let's see. High Constitution is good because they have low HP. Strength is good for carrying capacity, but if she gets into melee combat, something has gone wrong. On the other hand, she looks wise. Now, Charisma, she might not have, like, she might have a strong personality and willpower, but she doesn't look like she's very personable. So, I'm thinking, let's put a couple in Constitution. Let's put, like, just a couple in Strength, just so that she doesn't have noodle arms. And then I'm thinking, let's leave her Charisma at maybe at a 10, and we'll bump up her Wisdom. How does that seem? Does that look good? I feel like that's a pretty solid spread for her. Yeah, I'm feeling it. Alright. Okay, her skills. Well, this is it. She gets 1 point, and we know it has to go in quarterstaff because she's got one in the picture, so there you go. Wizards are not good at weapons, y'all. Okay, now this is a little bit different. For those of you who are not aware, wizards have a spell book, and the only spells they know are spells that are written in that book. On the one hand, that means that finding a scroll or spell book on another wizard or in a chest or something is big time treasure because now you can add it and then you'll know it forever. The downside is you can't cast anything that's not written in that book. So we have to really be careful about what we choose here. because she only gets to pick 2 spells. And other than that, it's all going to be in the hands of the game. Like, whatever we find is what we're going to have to cast, because then she'll be able to learn it. So we've got to pick very carefully to start, because she's not going to have a lot of options. So let's see. Armor is good. It has a very long casting time, of course. Yeah, it makes her great at protecting herself, because, see right here, it acts as though, like, the armor spell is basically scale mail, but it's cumulative with dexterity. So that's a good choice. And then, if we're going to do that, she needs an attack spell of some kind. That's the whole point. So she needs something she can throw at the enemy. Burning Hands is an AoE, but it's not a great damage spell until you get to higher levels. Let's see. Magic Missile, of course, is great. That's the classic. It always hits. You get additional missiles as you level up. It does full damage against things like ghosts and other incorporeal creatures. Right, exactly. Yeah, since she doesn't have any proficiency in ranged weapons, she needs a ranged attack spell. So I don't want to put her up in melee with Burning Hands. I'm thinking either Chromatic Orb or Magic Missile. She's only going to get 1 shot, because Magic Missile, of course, you get additional missiles as you level up, but you can't pick multiple targets in the video game version the way that you can in tabletop D&D. So she's only going to hit 1 target anyway. Now, Chromatic Orb deals damage, but it also has a potential to inflict a status effect. See, like, it can blind creatures, it can stun them, and so on. However, a successful saving throw negates all effects. So, like, she's going to hit them, but then if they save, nothing happens, and you can't do that with Magic Missile. So I think it's between those two. So we're going to give her, like, chunky damage with a status effect, but it can be negated completely. Like, effectively, they can dodge it. Or are we going to give her something that has, like, fairly low but steady damage, but it always hits, and it works on ghosts? Alright, we're leaning towards Chromatic Orb. Alright, if anybody else wants to speak up, now is the time. I'll wait on that 7 or 8 second delay, and I'll say going once, going twice. Alright, Chromatic Orb it is. And again, she'll learn some of these other spells as we go along. We will find scrolls for them and things like that, so. Alright, now she only has... you can only memorize 1 spell because she only has 1 slot, so she knows 2 of them, but she can only have, like, 1 that she can cast per day at the beginning. Wizards are pathetic in old D&D until they get to higher levels. I guess it's gotta be Chromatic Orb, so that she can hit something. Alright, her appearance, well, we know she's got dark hair, and then she's green on green, so... let's see, I'm thinking maybe... yeah, looks like that. Yeah, old school wizards are, like, not great. It was kind of a trade-off. It's like they've gotten a lot more balanced over time, but it's kind of like in 5th edition, for example, they've done a much better version of balancing the classes to where everyone kind of stays useful over time. And a 20th level fighter and a 20th level wizard can actually fight each other. But in old Dungeons & Dragons, there was a big gap, and the difference was fighters started off really strong and were really powerful at the beginning, and they got worse and worse as the time went on, and they didn't advance as well. Wizards started out like crap, but then the higher level they got, the more powerful they got. So if you had a 20th level fighter and a 20th level wizard, that wizard could one-shot that fighter, and there's very little the fighter could do about it. Whereas a first level fighter could easily beat a first level wizard to death, and that would continue until around level 7, 8, 9, something like that. And that's kind of mid-levels is where it started to turn around. Alright, we need to find her a voice.
You would do well to fear a woman's wrath.
Okay, that's Astrid, so we know not that one.
You would do
That's
well
the same
to fear
one.
a woman's wrath.
Your time draws near.
I already kind of like that.
I will do my best to keep us out of harm's way. If I have to take another step, my feet will fall off. And this journey was showing so much promise, too. I need healing.
I kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of liking female 2 up here.
Let's spill some blood.
That's a little dark. Let's try the mage voices.
Let me at him. Very well. I'll lead.
I shall slay you all. I will endeavor to be a wise leader. I am in need of a good night's rest.
By Daredal's shield.
Nah, that sounds dwarvish.
Prepare to be destroyed.
Die, fool.
Mage 2, this one?
I shall slay you all. I will endeavor to be a wise leader. I am in need of... Standing here like this is a waste of my talents. I must insist on receiving some aid. Your desire?
Yeah, kind of. I think it's between... I don't hate Mage 2.
Your time draws near.
I really like the Heart of Winter female
I will
2.
do my best to keep us out of harm's way.
What do y'all think? This one or this one?
I shall slay you all. Your time draws near.
I think it's between those two for me. But I will let you pick, as always. Little pretentious. Okay, alright, Mage 2 it is then. Okay, what is her name? She's an elf. She needs an elvish name. Elves, of course, always have names like Galadriel or Miali. Let's see. That's not bad. That sounds like an elven name. Any other suggestions? Alright, we'll go with that then. We won't go with any of this, though. Let's see. Let's see, she's true neutral, right? So... yeah, I kind of like that. Let's do something with that. Let's see. Let me think for just a moment. The wording here is tricky. Let's see. There we go. That sounds better. We'll leave hers a little bit shorter since her purposes are unclear. I'm fairly satisfied with that. Kind of leaves it open what it is that she's after. Alright. We are almost done here. So let's see. This is going to be another male character. We haven't had a dwarf yet. We haven't had a half-orc. And we've covered all of the main bases, pretty much, except for someone sneaky. So, do you think this next person should maybe be a rogue? That's kind of what I'm thinking. And we do have some good rogue pictures, of course. There's quite a few in here that could... maybe we can kill two birds with one stone. How about a dwarven rogue? A trap expert. Maybe he's not that sneaky, but he's great with devices. That's something you don't see a whole lot, too. And yeah, we could go with a bard, potentially. Dwarf rogue? Alright. Dwarf rogue it is. I like that. They get a penalty to dexterity, but, see, they also get a bonus to open locks, find traps, set traps, and so on. Okay. We can just make him a pure thief. Now, we can make him a fighter thief, because that will make him a little beefier. You know, they can multi-class that way. And thief takes the least experience points in the game to level up. So, that is a possibility. He will level up slower with fighter and thief, like overall, but neither of those takes as much to level up as something like wizard. So we could multi-class with him. Right, like early on, he'll probably jump ahead like quite a bit in the early to mid levels, and then he'll taper off towards the end. But he will also be a fighter thief. Okay, yeah, we don't have a multi-class character. Let's do that. He also, I mean, look, he looks tough, right? Like, he looks like he could kick an ass. Okay, now, what alignment is this character? He cannot be lawful good. that was like an old AD&D rule. No lawful good thieves. Yeah, exactly, right? He's got to be tough if he's not stealthy. So, I feel like he's maybe neutral? Thinking lawful neutral. That's not bad for a, because he is a thief, but he's also a dwarf, and they tend towards law. So yeah, okay, I like lawful neutral. Abilities. Let's see here. Yeah, that's true too. I'm feeling that kind of. You know, he's got a code, if nothing else. Okay. I think the 84 is going to be it. That's fine with me. Alright. Charisma, not supremely necessary for him. Wisdom is useful, intelligence is useful, of course, dex, strength, and con all useful for what he's going to be doing. Let's say, how about... Because things like open locks are not dexterity based, they are actually like skills unto themselves, so there'll be a percentile die roll. How does that look? A strength-based thief. He's pretty tough, he's quicker than the average dwarf, and good with his hands. He's a pretty smart cookie, tapped into his surroundings, of course, but he's fairly close-mouthed. He gets along with the elf, I think, in a weird way, which also kind of bucks that trope. What do you think? I'm pretty happy with that. Feel like we've got just about everything that we need on him here. Yeah. Okay, now these skills. Let's see. This is where the range comes in right here. See, we have a number of points we're going to put in here, and this is going to be on a D100 roll. So let's see. Open locks and find traps are the two most important skills and the ones he's already best at. Now, pickpockets is useful. It just depends, you know, on what we're going to be doing with the character. I don't know that we're going to be picking a lot of pockets, so he might not put any ranks in that. Move silently and hide in shadows, those go in tandem and should always be pretty much the same, because those together are your stealth skill. Set traps, that's something I don't use a whole lot in this game. We'll see. I don't know that I want to put points in it right away, because we'll have to figure out how we're going to play. And then Detect Illusion, of course, is exactly what it says on the tin. So I think, at the very least, let's go ahead and bump this up a little bit. That leaves us with 35. Open locks is going to be important right away, because you know this is one of those RPGs where we're going to be going into people's houses and, like, rummaging through their unprotected belongings. So I'm thinking maybe some open locks and find traps, maybe like 10 each, bring both of those up to 30, perhaps. And then we can split the remaining points between, like, move silently and hide in shadows. How does that sound? We'll see how that looks. And then maybe, I don't know, we can put 5 in Detect Illusion, maybe. What do you think? That looks pretty good to me. At least to start off. And of course he'll get more points as we continue to level up. Just like the fighter will get more weapon proficiencies, the wizard's going to get more spell slots, and so on. Okay, here we go. Now, we saw him with a dagger. And so we definitely want a couple of points in that. He can only put 2 ranks in any weapon skill at this point. So, now we don't have any ranged fighters. I think that we need someone who does, in fact, use some kind of ranged attack. And he's a rogue. He's a good choice. Maybe something like crossbow? That fits more than... I feel like crossbow, because it's mechanical, fits better than longbow or shortbow since he's a dwarf. Alright, there we go. Crossbow it is, then. Okay. Let's see. Appearance. Go. That looks alright. We'll use this dull black rather than shiny because he's going to be sneaking around. And he had just a little bit of a red accent. There we go. I think that looks good. Oh, now, here we go.
Here I come, and the hells come with me.
Now we need to find a voice for him.
The silent blade cuts best. Well, looks like I'm gonna have to go on a killing spree.
You'll soon sleep with the dead. I'll be the leader for now. I'm tired of trotting around like a damn mule.
Gods grant me strength.
I'm kind of liking Heart of Winter Male 3 here.
Attack!
That's a little too loud.
I'll wash me beard in your blood.
Ooh, that's not bad. That sounds very dwarfy.
I'll be doing the leading now. I'll be needing rest soon. Enough of this. Let's... I'm needing a healer. Ready. I'm here.
How do you feel about that one? I'm kind of digging that. Male Fighter 2.
You'll soon sleep with
I could go with that one, but I feel like that one's very dwarfy. Yeah, like that kind of gruffness.
I'll wash me beard in your blood.
And also it seems kind of like appropriately stabby. That's an acceptable amount of stabbiness. Alright, well, we need a name for this fella. Ooh. I kind of like that. That sounds very dwarvish. Motmic. I like it. Alright, what's this guy's story? So let's see. We know he's good at traps and locks. He's both a fighter and a rogue. It's fairly gruff, which is true of all dwarves. He's ready to stab some people. You know, we could work with that. Maybe something happened to his clan or to like his unit, people that he was with, and he's kind of like out for revenge. Maybe he was the sapper or something, and it was a trap that got everybody but him. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. How did this go down? I mean, a little bit. Trader and mercenary. That makes sense because dwarves are good with money too. Let's see. Rather than returning to guard duty, became a merchant, trading with various surface mercenary companies. There we go. That's a little darker than our others, but I like it. That seem acceptable? I'm a fan. Alright. Last one, folks. Here we go. Another female character. Who's this gonna be? A bard, maybe another wizard, perhaps, with different spells in her book. I don't think that will fit, unfortunately, but we could just call her Dot. Yeah, I'm feeling like we need some kind of additional support class, or we need another spellcaster, or both, because we've got a lot of good solid fighters. Even the cleric is a good solid fighter. Even the thief is a multi-class fighter, but we just have the one mage. So I think we either need another wizard, or maybe a sorcerer, just straight up, not multi-classed, or we need something like a bard. Kind of. I think bard or druid would probably straddle that line the best, because they would be a caster, but they would also have a lot of support abilities. How about that then? Let's go with a bard, because they're an arcane caster. But they are also a support class. I think that'll work. We just need to figure out who that's going to be. I paused for a long time on this one, which I like, because it looks to me, that could be a wand, but it could also be a flute. And I like her getup, like for Bard. But this one also. She's obviously some kind of rogue. She's got a ring of keys, you know. But she kind of looks like more like a troubadour or a minstrel than she does a warrior, maybe. So that would be appropriate for a spellcaster kind of thing. That's not bad either, because she's got like a rope or a grappling hook or something. I've used this one a lot. This one is often my my party thief, based on the past. Yeah, I'm kind of digging that. How about this one? We could do this one and make a half-elf. Or we could do this one, make a half-elf or a human. Are we thinking keys or flute? Okay, but which one is that, though? Is that what I said to describe her? That she looked more like a... Okay. Alright, we'll go with her then. Let's see. She looks like a human to me, but she could be a half-elf. How about we go with a half-elf because they have dark vision, they can see in the dark, and they get a bonus to pickpockets and hide in shadows. So that's something that bards do. They're a great all-around support class because they get some thief skills in addition to arcane spellcasting and support abilities that are unique to them. So, yeah, we haven't done one of those, and we've got like 2 humans in the party, I think, already, or 3. So let's do a half-elf. Okay, bard. Now, let's see. There's the standard bard, the blade, which is more of a combat-based. I don't think that really really fits her. There's the jester. They're a debuff specialist. They can confuse people. And then there's the Scald, which is another different kind of combat bonus. I think probably just the regular bard. Those others are not too complicated, but, you know, that's not what she looks like. She just looks like a regular bard, I think. So let's see, alignment. She's got to be neutral something. So are we thinking true neutral, neutral good, chaotic neutral? I'm feeling like maybe another neutral good? Perhaps? That feels good to me. I don't think she's lawful. I mean, she's dangling a set of keys. So she could be true neutral, but we've already done that with the elf. So I'm thinking either chaotic neutral or neutral good. We could go neutral evil. We don't have anybody evil in the party, but I feel like we've kind of constructed a narrative where probably the rest would not really tolerate her or have a lot of great reason to work with her. So yeah. Okay, so let's call it neutral good or chaotic neutral. Which one of those? Yeah, there you go. Motmic is neutral, you know, but he's not evil. Okay, then let's go back to neutral good. I think that works. The whole balance of forces is an important thing. Alright, her abilities then. Let's see, there's an 82, 83. Bards are one of those classes that they kind of need a little of everything. So I'm happy with an 85. Oh, there's an 88. Okay, we'll do that. Okay. We'll go back down to her minimums here. Alright, well, we know she needs to have high charisma. That's important. A high intelligence is good, but not supremely necessary. It works with her lore, I think, and like, you know, if she's going to use magic items. Dexterity is going to be important, especially because she's going to be wearing light armor, but she also shouldn't be, like, too noodly. So maybe a couple points in each of these. She looks like she's got a decent head on her shoulders. I'm going to think that, maybe. And then, how about some more dexterity? Maybe we'll make her a ranged fighter, because she doesn't look like she's wearing heavy armor to me. I don't think. We've got 4 points left. Should we go ahead and put a couple more in dexterity? Or do you want to spread those out, maybe put a couple in constitution and a couple in strength? I could see both ways. Strength is good for carrying capacity, and she might get in melee. More range. Alright, let's do that, and then... let's do... how about we take those last two and we'll put them in strength. There we go. That way she can carry stuff. Okay, her skills. I think this is our bow user. Don't y'all? Yes, they can. Which is another reason that strength is going to be important. Because some bows can only be used if you have a certain strength. So, I think this is our bow person. Now, unfortunately, we can only put one rank in a weapon, you know, so she can't specialize in longbow, not yet. But that's okay, because also she only has 2 points to spend, and we do not want her to have 2 ranks in bow and no ranks in anything else, even though that might theoretically be realistic. So she needs a rank in something else. We don't have anybody using short swords. How about that? Those are kind of light and easy to carry, and Motmic's already using daggers. So yeah, because we got 2 people using long swords. All of those are going to go to them. We got someone using axes. We've got a mace guy. We could do spears. Like, here's halberd and spear. And that way she's using, you know, a 2-handed weapon. Give her a little bit of range, maybe. That could be interesting as well. So what do you think? Should we go with short swords, or should we go with spears? Or halberds? I could see both. And I'm trying not to be too meta, like I have played this game before, but I'm trying not to think of, like, I know that there are magic short swords. They show up pretty early in the game. Or, like, I know that there's not a magic halberd until you're level 8. Yeah, we don't have anybody using any polearms, and I would hate for them to just, like, to find a +1 spear or something, and it's useless because nobody's proficient. Okay, let's do spear. Alright, let's do our appearance now. She looks like she's brown with red trim, maybe, or brown and white. So let's do, okay, her appearance. I'm kind of liking that. You can't hardly see it anyway, so it's not like it matters. And then let's see. We've got kind of brown. And I don't know if there is a true white. That's kind of a lavender. I think that one might be the closest that we get. Yeah, I think so. So we'll do that. All right. Last voice. Let's see.
Let's dance. Follow me. Even I need to rest once in a while.
That's not bad.
Dash and slash. What? Me? I could use some shut-eye.
That sounds like maybe a dwarf or a halfling, perhaps.
Die, fool.
That's a little too dramatic.
Prepare to be destroyed. I dared all shield. Let me at him.
Onward to victory!
A stout sword and sturdy shield can take you far.
This is a lot of responsibility. Oh, I think it's time for bed. May please, someone help me?
That sounds kind of bardish, like just a little bit on the melodramatic side, kind of, you know, just a hint of like that Marilyn Monroe acting.
My aim shall be true. If you wish for my leadership, I shall give it. Let me find some place to set camp.
That's not bad either.
A stout sword and sturdy shield can take you far.
See, that to me sounds kind of like storytelling, you know, the inspirational voice. Yeah. What do y'all think of that? You happy with Female Fighter 4? Or is there another one jumping out at you? Okay, we'll go with that one then. Alright, here we go. We're almost done. What is this woman's name? Let's see. I like that. Yeah, because it's like a Sarah. You know, she looks like she would have kind of one of those simple, pleasant sounding names. Something that's easy for people to say, rolls off the tongue really well. Okay. Yeah, if nobody has any objection to that, then I think I like that. Alright, here's our last backstory then. So, let's see. What do we know about her? Well. She's got a ring of keys. So we know she gets into stuff that maybe she's not supposed to. She could be protecting them, I suppose. Could be the other way around. She's got a little bit of magic. She's a bit of a thespian. We know that she's very friendly. Let's see. Maybe she wasn't always like that. Oh, yeah, I like that. I like that. Let's see. Actually, withdrawn very shy. Yeah, I mean, let's just lay it out for them, right? Okay. Yeah, you said tavern wench-ish. Maybe she grew up in a tavern. Yeah, I like that. Okay, alright, we've got a story emerging here. Let's see, how would we phrase this? There we go. Let's see. There we go. All right. I like that. Folks, I think we've got a party. What do you say we get started?
Our tale begins here, in the quiet fishing village of Easthaven, one of the so-called 10 towns of Icewind Dale. The tiny community is hardly a town, but rather a collection of ramshackle huts crowded together upon the icy shores of Lake Dinashire. Here, within a dimly lit tavern, a group of travelers sit huddled around a table, swapping tales and making grand plans for the future, completely unaware of the part they are to play in the events that are about to unfold.
Guys, I think that's us.
What's this? New face in town, eh? Well met, stranger. The name is Hrothgar, originally of Hillsfar. But now, after years of traveling up, down, and under Faerun, I am content to call this town my home. Who might you be?
Now, this is something, and I'll adjust some of these settings so that we don't see these markers all the time necessarily. But this is something we're going to have to deal with when we talk to people. There are going to be dialogue choices in this game, unlike in Might and Magic 6. And y'all are going to have to help me make some of them. Now, I feel like, we know what some of them are going to say. Like right now, he's talking to Hatheland. So, I think that he probably is going to be polite, don't you?
Well then, welcome to Easthaven. Whatever your business in these parts might be, I would offer you this small piece of advice. While you're in my town, you do well to be on your best behavior.
Thanks, I guess, but we haven't done anything yet.
These folk are under my protection, and anyone who would seek to do harm to them in any way shall answer to me.
Okay.
That said, I'll let you get back to your cups. I'm sure you've had a long journey, and you'll find there's no better way to shake off the cold of the road than by downing a few mugs of Grisella's best. And if you're in need of lodging, I would recommend talking to Quimby over at the Snowdrift Inn over on the east side of town. Equipment and supplies can be purchased next door at Pomab's Emporium. Pomab's prices are a bit high, even for a Kalashite. But you'd be better off well-equipped and short of coin than the other way around. Ill-prepared travelers don't last long in these parts. Once you've had a chance to rest up and get your bearings, come by and see me at my house. It's just a couple doors west of here. There's some business I would discuss with you. Farewell.
Okay, bye. That was abrupt, but, okay, so our journal has been updated. And we're ready to go, folks. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we don't lose all of this delicious work. We're going to save this here. And make sure that our party is well taken care of. Now, listen, we just decided he wasn't evil. There's a lot of folks to meet here. There are a lot of quests right away in this very first area. And so we're not going to lack for things to do. But, we've done the most important part. We know who we are playing. So, yeah, it was kind of abrupt, right? And just kind of broke in on that. But so we've got our party. We know what's going on, right? We're good to go. So, thank you for joining me. Thank you for helping me to create these characters. I cannot wait to see where they wind up and what happens to them next. Of course, if you've never played the game before, I think that you'll really enjoy it. I'm glad that you already are. So, for now, we're going to go ahead and call it here. That was a lot of work. We'll actually get started with the adventuring next time. That'll be Saturday, as always, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is New York and Miami time here in the U.S. And don't forget to let me know on Twitter, on Pillowfort, on Facebook, how you think that things are going, what other games you'd like to see me play, what you enjoy about this stream. And if you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and hit that button, turn on notifications so that you don't miss any other streams or tweets. And if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to give me a like and subscribe over there, leave a comment, and join us next time on Twitch to play along live. So for those of you who are here right now, and for those of you who are watching the upload later on, I'm glad to have this opportunity to do another game for you. And I want to, as always, thank you for playing.